AM
560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer, Chicago's Morning Answer. Chris Crocker for Dan Proft. Dan's back on Monday. Follow me on social media, at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRASKROK. You can also follow Brian Harrison, state rep from Republican from North Texas as well, who's been on my show before. Brian Harrison, his handle on Twitter is, you can see it right through my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show. Brian Harrison, welcome to the show. What is your Twitter feed? Brian E. Harrison,
Hey, Chris, great to be with you. Yeah, Brian E. Harrison on X, Brian E. Harrison. I can assure you it is the most hated Twitter feed in the capital in the state of Texas. I can assure you that.
Which is why we love it the most. Brian, first of all, you kicked the crap out of two fake news CNN anchors. When you pulled out that map and you showed the finger going across the state of Illinois with a jerry-rigged district, you showed those turds in CNN exactly why Illinois is literally one of the absolute top 2 or top 3 offenders in the entire country for rigging everything. Pritzker lied and said he wouldn't do any redistricting. He would have an independent panel in 2018 when he was running. He lied again in 2021 twice, and then he said, let's rig it. Brian, I want you to deliver a message. You have a message that I have been hoping you would be able to deliver now that you're on in Chicago, which is fantastic. I want you to tell Governor Pritzker, what message do you have for Governor Pritzker this morning?
You're a hypocrite, a liar, a fraud, and a fake, and the epitome of projection and faux fake outrage. Give me a break. The only thing that you, Governor Pritzker, might actually be, qualified to talk about, ironically, is how to gerrymander a state. So I guess there is some rationality to my cowardly Democrat colleagues coming and hiding behind you. But yeah, you're a fraud and a hypocrite. And here's the reality, Governor Pritzker. You have no problem whatsoever with states redrawing their lines to maximize partisan political advantage. The truth is, the dirty little secret, you're only angry because it's a Republican game and trying to fight as hard for the future as, sadly, the Democrats here in Texas are. So the reality is you're a hypocrite. You have no problem with partisan redistricting. You're just pissed off that it's a Republican state doing it. You phony, you fraud, you hack.
Now, Texas State Rep Brian Harrison from North Texas, where I'm sitting, I'd like for you to share your message with the cowardly Democrats, your colleagues from the Texas State House, who have fled the state of Texas like cowards and ran. What is your message to them today, as the overwhelming majority of them who fled are in the state of Illinois, in the Chicagoland area, perhaps listening this morning?
Yeah, get your cowardly, hypocritical ass back home. You ran for office. Nobody made you run for office. You asked people to vote for you. You've got hundreds of thousands of Texans that elected you to do a job. You swore an oath to the Constitution. Get on a plane, get on a bus, get on a train. I don't really care. Get your hypocritical, self-righteous, fake outrage ass back to the Capitol in the state of Texas so we can get back about doing the will of the people, of the voters of the great state of Texas who we were elected to serve.
Brian, I want to ask you this, too. We know that the Texas Rangers and the Sergeant-at-Arms at the House have been ordered to find, arrest, and bring in the cowardly Democrats who have fled. I want to ask you this. We know the FBI have been asked by John Cornyn, who will be replaced by Ken Paxton, thankfully, not too distant future, but John Cornyn, particularly in a stunt to try to look like he's like a Ken Paxton, wrote a letter to the FBI. Kash Patel said, yes, I will honor your request. We will work with you to hunt down the Democrats. At least it seems that way. What is the extent of the cooperation with the FBI that you're aware of right now? And is it possible they might show up today, tomorrow, the next day at the hotel that they're at in Chicagoland and, cuff them and stuff them?
Well, I think it's possible. I was glad to see my former colleague, Kash Patel. We both were cabinet chiefs of staff together in President Trump's first administration. So I was thrilled to see my former colleague, Kash Patel, commit to lend some resources from the FBI with this effort. I support it. I actually called for that almost a week ago when we first got word of the quorum break. I called on Governor Abbott to immediately reach out to federal law enforcement partners. I actually kind of think one of the headlines is, why did it take Senator Cornyn to do it? Why weren't the state elected leadership in Texas on the phone to the FBI faster than they were? But, so they could do it. We will see. I think a lot of them might be leaving Illinois to head out to California. I think they've scheduled a press conference with Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I don't know how. I am not. The hit parade of Democrat losers, they're jet setting from Illinois to California is my understanding. I don't know if it's all of them or some of them, but yeah, I think at 4 p.m. Central Time, Newsom, Pelosi, and my cowardly colleagues from the Texas House Democrat Caucus will be doing a press conference in Sacramento today. But one thing that I just got to hit, and I won't dwell on this too long, but the Democrats are to blame, and they should be, punished, and they should be arrested. But also to blame, we can't escape this, is the weak establishment Republicans in the Texas government that assisted the quorum break by allowing the Democrats to leave when we were on the floor with the quorum, with the maps a week ago Wednesday, and our Rhino speaker released the Democrats to go meet with Hakeem Jeffries, who had flown down from D.C. That was just last week. So the reality is this is as much of an abject failure on the part of weak establishment Republicans that have controlled the Austin, Texas government for far too long, as it is a story about the Democrats. I would be remiss if I didn't point that out. If Texas had bolder Republican leadership, this quorum break never would have happened, and quite frankly, it would have been ended by now because Texas Republicans have all the tools they need to force the Democrats back. I don't want to give the Democrats more credit than they're due here. Texas
Rep. Brian Harrison, I got to ask you several more things. Great column by Hans Van Spakovsky in the Daily Signal a day or two ago. And he said the reason why all this redistricting must happen now in Texas is because, for example, Harmeet Dillon, Assistant AG for Civil Rights, wrote a letter to the great state of Texas, to Abbott and Paxton, saying they must those 5 districts, or 3 districts at least, 4 are unconstitutionally racially based gerrymanders. And the reason why Van Spakovsky says so and why Harmeet Dillon says so is last year the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals had a decision, and what it said was, this was in Petway versus Galveston County. They said you can't cobble 2 separate minorities together to create a majority district. It has to be over 50% black or over 50% Hispanic. It can't be cobbling Hispanics and blacks together, and therefore that's what's going on. Is that accurate?
So there's a lot of things to unpack in this, and what I would say is there are many reasons. And first of all, Harmeet Dillon is doing just an absolute amazing job for President Trump and the American people, especially getting rid of DEI. I mean, quite frankly, Harmeet Dillon and the Trump administration has done more to get rid of DEI in the state of Texas than the Texas government has for the past several years. So here's the facts. Okay, what's going on here? There are many, many things that have changed since the census 5 years ago. So I'll list a couple. Number one, the Census Bureau has already admitted that they massively undercounted these populations in the state of Texas. Okay, so we didn't have the right numbers when we did our last redistricting. Number two, the laws have changed, like you're talking about, especially with regard to these so-called coalition districts. Number three, the population of Texas has exploded as people flee these progressive Democrat states like New York and California. They're flooding into Texas. We've had over 2 million people come here just since the last census. And then finally, voting trends have changed radically in a very bad way for the Democrats, quite frankly, especially in the southern parts of Texas near the Rio Grande Valley, where Hispanic voters are fleeing the failed policy of the Democrat Party. So there's lots of reasons that not only can we redistrict, we absolutely should redistrict.
Okay, here's a big one. I heard Governor Abbott say yesterday that there's at least 12, there's more than 12 Democrats hiding out in Texas that have fled. And he says that Texas Rangers are investigating that. Are you aware? Because my envisionment is that possibly 12 or more Democrat Texas legislature members are hiding on, and they're under surveillance, perhaps by the Texas Rangers. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, I have not been able to independently prove this, but what I am hearing, what I am told from sources I do trust in the Texas government is that, yes, there are multiple Democrats that are still within the borders of the state of Texas. And if that is true, if we come to find out that that is true, that will be an indefensible dereliction of duty of the Texas government, who knew they were in Texas and failed to arrest them. So if we find out that these Democrats were, in fact, hold up within the state of Texas, where there is no question whatsoever about our jurisdiction or authority to arrest them, if they're not being arrested, that's just another black eye on the Republican leadership in Texas.
Do you have any confidence that they will do that?
I mean, I do not know, and the reason I am very hesitant on that to say that is because as of now, we're officially 5 days into this. We're really like 8 or 9 if you count when our Rhino speaker released them last Wednesday.
Yeah.
We've had 5 days, okay? And we've had nothing come out of the elected Republican leadership in the state of Texas more than sternly worded letters and firmly worded press statements and really bold tweets. We have had no action that is tangible of any kind whatsoever to punish these Democrats. You know what? My voters are sick and tired of weak establishment Republicans who don't do anything other than go on Fox News and talk tough, but don't actually do anything. Texans want results. They want actions. They don't want words. And unfortunately, all we've had come out of the leadership of the state of Texas is words.
I'm hearing Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator, is financing this. We have 15 seconds. Tell me what you know about that, and can we tag and bag him for what he's doing?
That has been alleged, and I think our Attorney General's office said they plan to investigate that. And look, if there's bribery or anything like that, that should absolutely be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But the reality is we have lots and lots and so we should do that. I fully support it. But we have lots and lots of tools that could force the Democrats back right now if we wanted to use it, like strip them of their chairmanships, defund their offices. Hell, we haven't even taken their parking spots away. But the governor could threaten to veto all their bills if they don't. So there's lots of things we could be doing, but that we aren't. The Democrats are hypocrites. Democrats have been gerrymandering their states for over a decade. Republican states have actually been very slow to the redistricting fights to do what the voters in their states want. So Texas should do this. Quite frankly, Texas should have done it by now. And if to any of my colleagues still listening in Illinois, hiding behind Governor Pritzker, get your ass home.
Brian Harrison, Texas Congress Representative, Northern Texas. God bless you. Thank you for that fire in your belly. Love you. I'm grateful you were able to come on in Chicago this morning.
Great to be with you, my friend. God bless you all.
You too, brother. All right, coming up next, it's Open Mic Friday. We go nuts. Call in now. We'll be popping your calls off coming up next. 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Every line is open. You better get in now on AM 560. The Answer. Chris in for Dan.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560. The Answer.
Wow. At the time of this being written, both gold and silver are up some 40%. That's 40% in just 1 year. In fact, this past